my tech is being crazy. So for tonight's release, we're gonna do a little bit of yoga off the mat and just kind of go over what it is. And basically, it's in short terms, it's what you practice on the mat. It's maybe if you're a yoga teacher, what you preach in class on the mat, and how you are in your daily life. So there are many examples of how you like practicing yoga off the mat. It could be connecting to your breathing. It could be letting go of things and situations and outcomes, expectations. And it can also be just it's part of what the yamas and niyamas are. And so the yamas and niyamas are part of the 8 limbs of yoga, which comes from sacred text in short, from Hindu sacred text. And so with the yamas and niyamas, you have the yamas, which are things similar to like, not harming others, being honest, not stealing, remembering that there is something higher than you, and having non-possessiveness to, especially like in material things. And you have niyamas, which are more related to self, purifying your body and mind, cultivating an attitude of contentment. So training your senses and emotions, even because with cultivating an attitude of contentment, you're kind of stepping away from extreme anger, extreme upset, extreme happiness and ecstaticness, which they're going to happen. You're human. I'm human. We're all human. It happens. Emotions are there. They help us to kind of understand what's going on with our body, how our body is responding to things. But then it's being able to like kind of step back into it. And it's also inner exploration and letting go of something too tight with like spiritual source and things. And so for a little story time for yoga off the mat, an example of this is, like I said, just in your daily life. Like, for example, I've had 2 interactions. I've had like a couple weeks ago, there was a truck and they drove really wild on the freeway and they like barely passed in between me and another car. And I saw it and then they went on and I kind of was just like, okay, no one got hurt. My mirror was still on my vehicle. The other car beside me was still going. We just both kind of looked at each other and that was kind of that. And that was an experience of responding in my humanness and taking what I practice on the mat off the mat and out into the real world, because on the mat, there's the physical asanas. There's also, you're going through meditation. You're learning to be in awareness. You're learning to have patience with self and other. And you find this stillness and this presence. And then when you're out in the world, it's coming back to that stillness, being able to go from a reactive state when something happens or you have an experience in life and move to a responsive state and be able to still kind of understand also that when things are going on with other people, especially in something like that, where this person's in this truck and they're driving kind of wild, know that that had nothing to do with me. That has nothing to do with you. That person probably was not in the realm of what was going on with me in that other car. They were in their own world, their own experience. I was in my own world, my own experience. And so that's kind of taking what I practice and being yoga off the mat, because I'm allowing it to not like upset me, to not make me get a little crazy about things. And I just kind of get to be, since in that experience also nothing bad happened. So so hello. So we're talking about yoga off the mat. So feel free, if you have like something related to that, feel free to share. I'm happy to then share it too. And so another story, or kind of in reverse reaction for yoga off the mat, is where I kind of lose those things is then, maybe if I'm in my car and I'm driving a certain way, or I'm not paying attention to something, or people or atmosphere around me, and I'm in my pure humanness. Well, then it brings up a quote that I shared in the community, which it is a famous quote. It's a human to err quote. It's talking about, to err is human. But the second half of that quote that doesn't get a lot of notice or kind of broadcast is, to err is human, but then and to forgive is to be divine. And so that's something where, they talk a lot about that the divine, our higher selves, our higher consciousness, in the yoga realm and in other realms, with being in our 3D self. And so it's so important to remember that second piece. So whether you are dealing with others out in the world and someone makes you upset or you make someone else upset, it's so important to go back to maybe thinking about that quote, to err is to human, and just kind of find contentment with that. Know that if something happens, or certain experience or situation or interaction happens with you and another, that you are human. And so whether that thing or experience got you super excited, got you upset, got you confused, whatever that emotions that it brought up or feelings that it brought up, know that then that moment is past. You bring yourself back to the present and you learn to forgive if forgiveness is necessary, or you just learn to move on if it's not. And that welcomes whatever you have been practicing in your yoga practice and your meditation practice and on the mat. And that is yoga off the mat in that real world. So, yeah, so you mentioned someone. And he got out of the car and he ran away. Oh yeah, see that would take a lot of forgiveness. Now, in deeper experiences, yeah, it can definitely be tough to find that forgiveness, and that's why that quote once again saying like it's almost like godlike and so divine to really be able to forgive, because as humans we can hold a lot of grudges, but if you get into sort of any following, into spiritual leaders or certain past religious leaders and things like that, it does say that there's a lot that higher self, that highness, and one in source, whatever you choose to call it, they're able to forgive, and they can forgive all of us humans for being humans and knowing that we're going to err. But it takes a really big step for humans to be able to do that, in ourselves. So yeah, don't allow myself. Yeah. So noticing issues that you don't allow yourself to get angry or upset to the point you just stand up for yourself, and it's quite burdensome. Yeah, that's another thing. So when you're dealing with certain things in life, or you're trying not to get angry and upset about certain situations, then you don't want to hold on to that either. So that's where your practice on the mat can help and support that and be able to be beneficial, because it allows us to move the body. You're in moving meditation. You're able to breathe and let go. That helps to move your prana. That helps to any stuck energy, or sometimes what can be stuck emotions in the body or upset, to release through the practice. You can release that. They call it typically like somatic yoga or somatic dance or somatic experiences and exercises. And they can really help to kind of move things through the system that may be stuck and caught, especially if you're dealing with issues where, if you're wanting to stand up for yourself, or maybe you feel like you should have, but you didn't. That's a way to really be able to tap into that and use then once again what's happening on the mat to support your daily life off the mat. So yeah, no, thanks for sharing that. It can definitely feel like it can be harder sometimes to forgive self and move through emotions and things that happen in our bodies off the mat versus others, which is quite an interesting thing that can happen in life. But that is something that keep practicing, going back to your mat, using those skills, learning those things, and learning how to purify your body, going back to that niyama. You're not only purifying your body and mind from a physical sense, you're purifying your body and mind from a spiritual and energetic sense. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. So, and hello, Kelly. Thank you for sharing that. So I really appreciate everyone who hopped on tonight. I appreciate you sharing in the comments about your own experiences, and thinking about, it's just really that awareness of figuring out how you take your yoga practice off the mat, because yoga is more than just a physical practice. It is and can be a spiritual practice. It connects you to your higher self. It connects you to source. It is an energetic practice. It helps things to move through the body. It taps into, we have our nadis in our body. We have our main chakras in our body. And so these things get stuck, they get trapped. And so there are different movements and things that help us to release and let go of anything that's being stuck or trapped, and it helps that energy to flow. Because a lot of the time that stuff also can happen from what's going on in our daily life. So the two can help one another. Your on the mat yoga practice can support your off the mat, and your off the mat can support or be a part of or reason or cause for you doing what you do on the mat. So this was our little yoga off the mat chit chat tonight and story time. We'll be back practicing on the mat tomorrow, but if you are still looking for physical movement, there are a bunch of new videos that have been posted on the YouTube, and also hopefully I can figure out and get tech back working tomorrow or the next day. Maybe you're already in tomorrow. So I want to thank you all so much. I send you many, many, many blessings, and yes. So question, question about like releasing chakras. I mean, you don't really like release your chakra, just if things get like stuck, if your energy gets stagnant, you can help the energy to learn to flow freely. Your prana, your energy, that life force, that movement that's going on in the body. So basically, if you're having certain symptoms come up, which I'll dive into that whole thing on another video or another time, with the chakras, then yeah, you could do, you can do many things. You could go to and get Reiki massage. You can go to, and some people do, I forget what it's called, but basically like the little, I gotta look it up. It's gonna drive me nuts because I can't think of the name, and that's gonna be crazy. I tend to call it, I can't think of it. But like when you get certain physical therapies done, you can go and get Thai massage that can help move energy around. Yoga, stretching is going to help move that energy around. I cannot think. Acupuncture. There we go. Thank you. So acupuncture, that can help to, kind of move things around. Some of these are related, not so much close to yoga, but they are related to other Eastern practices that can also just kind of help your energy to move through the body. And there are actually practices of people doing like dry brushing. That's going to help the physical body. That's going to help get rid of dead skin cells and things, but also help that energy to move. Sometimes it's just learning on another level, like how to speak up for yourself. If your throat chakra is feeling a little iffy, if you feel coughing, your throat chakra might be opening up. For your material things, or your lower chakras down to like your root chakra, that's like your lower chakras connect to like your stability, more of the physical world here. So there's things that can happen here in life that will help kind of move that energy along and help to free anything that's stuck or feeling out of sorts. And the goal is to hopefully allow these energies and this to move freely through the body before it comes up as a physical symptom, before it comes up where you're finding illness in your physical 3D body. So other ways to do that, yeah, like you could use, there's different herbs and things that you can use also with smelling them, or with like lavender oils that help to relax and things on the body that can support also your chakras and the energy that flows through your body to help it to continue to flow so that you can live a healthy and well-being life. So hopefully that answers your question down there. But okay, I will see you for yoga on the mat and a few. Like I said, there's plenty of videos to do tonight, and yeah, hopefully I'll see you again. Until next time.